Dispelling dangerous myths in health and wellness each and every Monday with Dr. Anthony G. Beck. Brought to you by Biohacker Labs. Warning, side effects may include more energy, deeper sleep, better memory, resistance to bullshit, and more cash in your wallet. Consult Dr. Beck with any questions.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Mythbusting Mondays with Larry, myself, and Anthony G. Beck, our go-to doc. And your guide. Today. So today we're talking about another important topic and another myth to be busted about weight loss diets. There's so many people trying all these different things. There's always new diets popping up. What's right? What's better? What's more effective? But are they really effective? So let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's an important one. I mean, every single year brings with it a new diet fad and some sort of pill, potion, whatever to help you lose a ton of weight. And
only to gain it back.
So should you should you follow those?
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. That's what we're talking about. That they're effective. And well, you got the measure of effective is really that's the funny thing about it is because at the end of the day, we try to let people understand that just because something doesn't make it effective. Like we've all tried to unscrew a screw with a butter knife. Now, can we say it's effective? Did it work? Sure. But generally, you're scratching up the surface, cutting your finger, and anything like that. To me, that's not effective. Okay. The end result is those people who diet are people who diet. You know, and it really comes down to a situation where I try to tell people, listen, just keep calm and forget the fad diets. You don't need, I don't even really like the term diet. I use it because it's a common term that kind of bridges the gap between understandings. But I like to use the term eating and feeding, right? But it's like we're all scared of those foods. Like food has become the enemy. When I always tell people it's the best medicine. It got you into this mess and it's going to get you out of this mess. But what we're going to do is we're going to peel back the curtain here a little bit moving forward here and see about what it is that we really need to be aware of and be able to call out these things to where you can say, listen, I know it sounds great that I can eat the cookie dough diet or the grapefruit or the sauerkraut or the South Beach or the paleo or they all omit you. None of them know your metabolism. None of them know your physiology. None of them know your skill set to prepare or even purchase food for crying out loud. They don't know what kind of contraband is lingering in your cupboards. And the other people who live in your house. There's so many factors to come into play. It just really gets ridiculous.
But they do know one thing. They know your psychology.
Yeah. And touche.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point to bring up because a lot of people that are that fall victim to these things, it's a psychological game, right? So most people want a quick fix. They want to do a quick diet and feel like, oh, I just did this and I'm going to lose a bunch of weight and then I can eat whatever I want. But the reality is we have to dig a little bit deeper, and it takes a little bit more than a magic pill or a 3-week diet or whatever it is that you're doing.
It's just not sustainable.
Yeah. So
at the end of the day.
That's it. All right. Well, let's keep going here and see what we come up with. The thing is that just it is most people, if diets worked, the thing about it is that they'll oftentimes go, well, this diet worked, but now it doesn't for me. Well, if it worked, if it was a tool, then we'd have a lot more broad spectrum effect. But just like Larry and I were talking about, is that it really comes down to the fact that this has been a pervasive thing that's been since the dawn of man, always trying to stop, even back in the day. True statement. The thing was weight loss. Well, let's just give you some tapeworms, and they'll just eat up all your food and consume that kind of fun stuff, and you'll lose weight. True statement. And the thing about people have tried all kinds of stuff. Remember you look back at the Little Rascals things and that time in the 20s and 30s and those fat shakers, those little belts that all kinds of diets. I mean, this has been around for a long time. Why does it sustain itself? That's the concept we need to talk about very candidly here. It's because people are suckers for it because they lack correct information and context. Yeah. They don't understand that their body is dynamically different than their neighbors. Even from parents to children, things change. Your genetics are in a play. Thank goodness we had the Human Genome Project, and that didn't really get fully published until the early 2000s. So now we're rewriting the science and realizing that, oh my God, it's not about calories, and that's a big fat lie. And the other thing is food doesn't respond the same to everybody the same. We're discovering different chemicals and hormones and gastrointestinal reactions that all come into play. And we're going to talk about that big word of metabolism here in just a second. All right, so let's move on here to the next. Yeah. So when it comes down to it, what I want people to understand is, hey, listen, everybody's got a different way of doing it. And the vast majority out there know about these things like the MetaFast, what's doctor supervised weight loss. Well, let me also, upset and ruffle little feathers. Doctors don't know squat about nutrition. In medical school, they don't learn it. It's barely even elective, and it's just a few hours so they can say, listen, for hypertension, don't give them salt. If they have cardiovascular disease, no fat. I mean, there's no application or science to either one of those topics, matter of fact. But the thing about it is that most of these people are like the Jenny Craigs and the Nutrisystem and the Weight Watchers. They all have something in common. They're giving you processed packaged food. Now, if you're buying into that kind of stuff, you're learning a negative reinforcement. We have to get people getting back to actually making food, and for crying out loud, even know where your food comes from and have a knowledge of, where the food source is, both plants and animals, So what we have to realize is that all of these folks have these systems that really prey primarily on a female population, quite frankly, and then those females, pan it over on their fat husbands and significant others and kids. And I don't mean to be abrasive, but at the end of the day, we have to call them for what they are. They are just processed food marketing machines, and that's why they have to have celebrities to do it. You never see celebrities on there going, "Oh, we have the best organic kale in California that you've ever tasted," right? You don't have sports stars or people doing things like that, but you'll recruit them for this. But then guess what? We have people that are stars like that and have talk show hosts, like Oprah and things like that. And guess what? From one year to the next, they're big and they're small, and they're always around. They're always chasing it. Why? Because they're not focusing on health.
And it's a $1 billion industry. And
multi-billions.
Yeah, and within that industry, they dial in psychology. And when I said they know your psychology, I mean they know your psychology. Yes. And in a lot of ways, it's not your fault that you fall prey to this, because they're using tactics that really get deep into you without you even recognizing it. And they trigger emotional states that just you want that quick fix, you want that dose, you want to feel good, and they know how to manipulate that and get you to dive into whatever it is that they're pushing.
And it always seems so easy, so why not?
Yeah. Well, then how come? Why do you need the newest one? Why do you need the next fad or the things like that? So let's take a look at some of these things to take a peek at, because this is really where the rubber hits the road for me. Is patients ask me all the time. And so you'll see stuff on, as seen on TV, or it was on the Dr. Oz show, and it's raspberry ketones, right? I've even had people say, well, I don't want to buy the pill, so I'm just going to eat more raspberries and lose weight. It's so funny. And then, hey, you just got to buy this little shaker of this little stuff and shake that on your food and you'll eat less. So you're making food the enemy again, right? Well, the problem with that is that people don't realize it comes down to more than just a shaker of powder or a pill or something like that. You got into this trouble because you aren't aware of your own metabolism, your physiology, your environmental inputs, and the complexity of what goes into it. The other thing is weight loss. That's the thing. There's no other thing out there that perpetuates loss. No one will say, hey, they want you to improve your memory. They don't say lose your mind. They're like, hey, you can make more money, not lose money. I mean, it's the only thing that we lose, right? So it even goes so far as you'll see here, this particular one, it's a group that markets really heavy to doctors and stuff in the anti-aging world. They charge you, $10,000 to $15,000, and hey, listen, look, I'm an old man, I got ripped abs. Well, the thing is, you can even see in that particular picture, I like to pick at these guys just a little bit. And remember, this is my particular personal opinion here, and you can always investigate for yourself. But you have to understand that they apply these type of marketing premises to a population. They track you with cookies on your computer. I think we've all looked at some place and saw that aging browning banana. You guys ever seen that one? The one where the banana's always on the thing and
yep.
Don't eat these. I mean, it's like everywhere. I mean, it's pervasive. It's been there for a long time. So the reason why it's there is because it works. So what we have to do is, the marketing works. we have to free people from thinking that these things actually work, because they don't. So let's look at this next slide and kind of take another peek behind the curtain.
So for the people that are listening, what we're looking at are two slides. There's a before and after picture. The before picture has a woman in this pink, what is it? It's a little like shirt and
fuchsia. It's a fuchsia blouse.
It's a fuchsia blouse and a black kind of polka dot skirt. And if you look at the image closely, you see that the pose, the hair, just everything, even like the position of her fingers and the bush behind her is exactly the same. So they just blew up, photoshopped the one on the left.
And you can actually see the pixelation on the left.
I mean, it's bad.
But when you don't look at it close, but you're like, oh my goodness, those are some fantastic results.
You know what? When at first glance, I got fooled.
Yep.
It gets you. Me telling them, go, well, how do we? Okay, well, hold on a minute, because I'm a photographer. That's my passion in life. So I had to look at it and go, hold on a second. Just like you have here, everything is possible in Photoshop, and that's just it. So we have to call out the shenanigans, and identify how we all get suckered for certain things. It's kind of like that fajita coming through the restaurant, that sizzle and that greasy, salty meat, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I think I'll have some of that. And so the thing is that this stuff works. And so when you're looking at all these, it's one of the telltale signs of the weight loss diet stuff is the testimonials. Listen, I have testimonials. Patients will tell you, Dr. Beck, taught me how to cure my rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm free of cancer, and I don't have allergies anymore, and I've lost weight. Well, I get that mechanism. However, I just want people to look into it a little bit more. It's the same thing I always say. Hey, don't believe me just because I'm, healthy and enthusiastic and got a cute accent to listen to because I'm Southern. The thing is check my math. Always question. Always look. Get into it deeper and look at these things that are going on in these ads and stuff. You'll see these pictures of men and women, and if you really look at them, they just have a whole bunch of fat over a very healthy muscle density. And it's really easy to alter that. Most people don't even know that bodybuilders are a good 20 to 40 pounds heavier than when they're not on the show. So there's all kinds of ways to lose weight, but weight doesn't matter. It's not a true indicator of health. There is some, not being mutually exclusive. Just so if you have a little extra body fat on the body, that doesn't mean that you're unhealthy. If you're skinny, that doesn't mean you're healthy. Being healthy is being healthy, and you know that by the results of how you're able to live your life, and then, of course, what your biomarkers are and your predictive biomarkers that we test for and stuff like that from patients. So be mindful of pictures like this. Don't get suckered in. So let's keep taking a peek here more. Because it's fun for me, because we have to laugh at the human condition. That's one thing that my patients have taught me well. Like I've always said, they've been my greatest teachers and professors. And I've had this conversation before, because about 70% of my patient population over 2 decades has been women. And the thing is, of course, Oprah, she has a big, presence out there. So we're taking a look at 2 pictures of here. I remember the episode, seeing it on TV when she wheeled out that radio flyer wagon with all that fat in there. And look, I finally got it, and I got all this weight off. Well, Oprah's been around a long time, and so has her, fat physique. Now, brilliant lady, thinks she's awesome in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, my point here, and this is what I share with patients, is that we all have challenges in life. I mean, she has unlimited resources, knowledge base, personal chefs, access to all the foods and stuff like that, but she still has some troubles. Well, she's covered this particular topic and stuff like that, and we know that there's some emotional components, there's some psychological components. It's far beyond calories. It's far beyond just the food that you eat. It's the reaction to the particular food, your stress levels, and different things like that. So why is that so important? Well, because that sets the stage of the balanced understanding, because weight loss diets will not be effective because they don't know you, your personal story, your biochemical individuality, your genetic uniqueness, the things that you have access to in your life, your knowledge base, your support system or not, right? There's so much more to it. So the focus should never be on losing weight, right?
Yep.
Simple to understand.
Absolutely.
We want to be more focusing on health. So let's move on here and kind of get this really driven home, because I know this plagues a lot of people. But again, I like to show this picture a lot, and it's one of my favorites because I've had to study it for so many boards and tests and stuff like that. Metabolism, human metabolism, is super complex. It involves digestion or consumption, right? Eating the right foods and quality, and then digestion, absorption, utilization, getting rid of the waste products, hormonal environments, enzymes, nutrients. You can't do things and if you don't have adequate certain minerals like zinc or selenium. The thyroid doesn't work if you have deficiencies in those, or B12, and if that's awful, then then you're going to have possible weight gain or loss. And so again, it's super complex. So you just can't simply call up a 1-800 number and say, yes, I would like to get on the auto ship, send me this box for just X amount of dollars a month, all these pre-prepared foods, and expect to be eating little boxes of processed food and mini brownies and the calorie count and expect to lose weight, much less shake on a little Sensa or pop this fat burner. So at the end of the day, if anyone ever touts a weight loss program, you need to walk away. Period. If they use the term that it is weight loss, stop. Now, and some of the things I talk about, you will see weight loss. So we want to talk about that and expect that. However, if you're touting something specifically to lose weight, you automatically know by default that it's kapupski, right?
Yep.
I think that's a real word in Russian, kapupski. It just really is. I mean, because we all know the term, right? And we see these shows and The Biggest Losers and all this other kind of fun stuff. And but you remember, people are learning to eat. You got to eat. You have to feed the body and seek after health, right? And so let's take a look at that here in the next slide.
Yeah, and while this chart is like really complex, a lot of the stuff going on there, the solution, while it's not these fad diets, isn't as complex as this looks. It's a lot more simple, but it's not as simple as popping a pill.
Yeah. You got it. Listen, I wish it was. If it was, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Everyone know which one to go. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a very unique insight into this because, again, a couple decades, tens of thousands of patients, I have looked at their metabolic biomarkers. In other words, that big chart we just saw, now we can actually, this is a sample patient report of their individualized approach that I give them based upon looking at these kind of factors. I can take a look and see how they're digesting or eliminating, how they're processing carbohydrates, fats, proteins, how the liver is detoxifying, if their B vitamin markers or mineral markers are off, their neurotransmitters. See, we look at all these particular components, we can test and look at them. And we'll be able to know, because from one person to the next, you'll say, well, hey, I took these thermos, or took this drink, or this cleanse program, or these enemas. I mean, I've just seen so many things, right? It's like colonics for weight loss. The thing is, it doesn't consider the person. So each person who's listening to us today and hears our voice, you have to understand that you are a one-of-a-kind individual. Yes, there are certain things out there that will allow you to lose weight. But what's the weight? Is it water? Is it lipid? I mean, is it adipose tissue? Is it muscle? Are you demineralizing bone? I mean, weight, even the very term itself just blows. Yeah, it's crazy. So I want people to realize that metabolism is what governs it.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. And like Oksana and I recently went through the testing, and we were living, what we thought was a really healthy, way, when we were juicing a lot and eating all the right things. But when we did these tests, on the most part it was spot on, but you found some stuff that was off. Our intermittent fasting wasn't working for us, so we had to calibrate. And by calibrating, we actually gained some weight. We found some bacteria in the gut, this and that, and we gained some weight. And now you have us on nutritional ketosis, and that weight's coming off, not as quickly.
And that works for you guys at this particular moment. It's the right diet at the right time for the right person.
Right.
And I like how you said, like, what is weight? I mean, I remember days that we will come out of Bikram yoga session, and Larry will get on a scale and he's 2 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
You're like, well, what was that, right? So
I love hot box yoga. That's what we call it. That's fun. That's fancy term for you California folk. Us Southern people, it's just hot box yoga. But the thing is this. Again, they could tout that. They could say, hey, come and get X amount of sessions for whatever and lose 5 pounds and just right? I mean, again, but it really,
what are you
we
losing?
have to laugh at it.
Yeah.
Well, it just gets a little out of control.
And it brings me to the point of all that, which was, we had a conversation a few days ago where I was a little bit frustrated that, I stepped on the scale. I was like, down 2 pounds one day, and then the next day, a couple days later, I was up 3 pounds. And I was like, what's going on here? So frustrated. And you told me to throw the scale away.
Well, I mean, we all know them damn things lie. They're lying little bastards, like they have a liar chip in them, right? But the thing is this. When you start, and here's the problem. Most people want to diet because of a quick fix. They're trying to get to a thing. They have an event. They got a dress they have to get into, or hey, I want to, whatever. I'm getting married, blah, blah. There's all kinds of sociological things. Well, the problem is metabolism doesn't respond like that because it's not math. It's biology. And so the thing about it is, your body, when you have excess body fat, say I'm not using weight. If you are overweight in that sense, it's because you're not a bearer of health. Period. Okay. Mm-hmm. The thing about it is, and then you make a change. And if that includes reduction of calories, and now you're eating more healthy things and plants and good meats and things like that, okay, great. It's not that you're doing a weight loss thing. You're just providing it an opportunity to gain its health back. Mm-hmm. And whenever we're injured and we start to repair, the body does a very phenomenal thing. It sends fluid to it. Smack your thumb, swells up. Tweak your ankle, swells up. Mm-hmm. If you start, it's a healing response. And then the thing is, see, most people are looking for a diet and they want something. It's always lose 5 pounds, your first 5 pounds for free, and 10 pounds in 10 days, or 25 pounds in 30 days. Well, guess what? Metabolism doesn't necessarily respond so quickly in 30 days. It has to be a lifestyle change. You have to, the balanced protocol. You need to get into a mechanism, a framework of living your life, and then over time, you will get the weight loss for free permanently. Your set point will be reset. You'll have health. And you'll cosmetically or visually look good. That scale's a liar. Body weight is no indicator of health at all. Mm-hmm. It's just not.
And if you go the actual real deal approach and take care and measure and be patient, the long-term effect is much more exciting than the short-term gain that you might get
exactly,
through.
yeah. It's like, what is your goal? You want to just lose quick 5 pounds, or do you want to just live a healthy life? That you never have to turn to these like weight loss diets that really don't work and can harm your body, really.
Yeah, and it costs you. Listen, I didn't want to bore the audience, with that. I'm glad you said that, Oksana. Yeah, because it is. The detriment, I don't want to give the doom and gloom, but there's a tremendous amount of literature of the ramifications of this up and down stuff. I mean, it really jacks up everything from the immune system to brain health to organ reserve, just lots of stuff. It's just not a healthy thing. Your body is going to lose weight, but if you're cannibalizing lean muscle tissue, it's not just coming from skeletal muscle. It's going to come from other proteins and other organs and tissues, connective tissues and things like that. So, and the answer is never. And I mean never. I mean, that's right. I just said never say never. Never. Find the answer to be eat less, exercise more. You really need to do the opposite. You need to eat more healthful, quality, wholesome foods and stop tearing up your body less. That's what you got to do, right? So it's just the opposite. But the reason why we keep getting what we're getting is because we keep doing what we're doing. All right. So let's keep moving forward here. A lot of fun stuff. This is a good topic. We're running around a lot. So at the end of the day, I tell people, from my clinical experience, I'm not a typically, trained physician of that particular central dogma. And that is that I tell you to be a gainer. Stop being a loser. Don't be such a loser, right? Be a gainer. Gain your health and you will get the body that you want, the health that you want, the metabolism that you want. That weight loss will come off. It's going to be wonderful. But one of the big keys is if you're resistant, if you find yourself, lost amongst the noise and confusion out there, and everybody's got a way of doing it. I don't have a way. I don't have a weight loss program. What I have is a framework, a journey that you can take to discover you and really embrace yourself as a category of one again, and really dial in for you what should work for you based upon your current situation, your hormones, your metabolic status, your nutritional status, your genetics, your environment, your knowledge base, and work from that. And that's what we all do together here is giving this kind of information to educate, motivate, and inspire people to realize that if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting that. And so you want to break free of that particular vicious cycle. And weight loss diets certainly are one of the great things to kick to the curb.
So that's all we have for this episode of Mythbusting Mondays, brought to you by Biohacker Labs. We're on a mission to open 1 million people's eyes to the real truth about health and optimal wellness. So please help us by sharing this podcast with family and friends. And together we can break free from all that noise and confusion and make the world a brighter place. Remember, each episode comes with a video and slides, so make sure to head over to www.biohackerlabs.com/podcasts to get them, as well as our show notes and some free gifts.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast to discover more dangerous health myths. We love hearing from you, so please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have a show suggestion or want us to bust a myth, please email it to us at mythbusting@biohackerlabs.com. See you all next week with a fresh Mythbusting episode.